Well, that ending to the show was unexpected, bizarre, and violent. What do I mean by that? Well, let me tell you by giving you the 20 by 20 rundown of this week's Monday Night Raw. General Manager and U.S. National Treasure Kurt Angle opens the show by quickly moving on to Survivor Series talk and announcing some of the cross-brand matches for the event. And The Miz comes out like the whiny loser that he is, and he, Axel, and the Bar surround him Shield style until Ambrose and Rollins head down to back him up, and then Kurt reveals that Miz and the Bar will take on Seth, Dean, and a returning AJ Styles. There could be many worse ways in starting the show with AJ in the opening. The crowd popped big for it. I popped big for it. And you popped big for it. You know you did, and you can't say otherwise because the match was great. And the fans went home happy because our heroes get the better of the villains once again. Or they had, I should say, up until the big red machine showed up and helped said villains take the Shield and AJ down again. And I can't hate him for it. I like me a good chokeslam. Although they could explain why Kane's been working with Miz in the Bar. That'd be nice of them to do, because they haven't done so. But not that it's necessary for a fan as big as myself, as I expressed last week. So I'll gladly let this one slide. Speaking of Kane, he goes on to explain that the reason he turned on Strowman last night is because, in a nutshell, Kane wasn't going to let him replace him as Raw's only monster. And really, does he need much else? I don't think so, but I guess the speculation that he had come back to avenge his brother turned out to be false, which is also fine, because I'm pretty sure that Kane thinks Undertaker is a big enough boy to fight his own battles. Kane then demanded competition just like Strowman has done to mock him, and Finn Balor answers the challenge. Isn't that just too sweet? Sign me up for it. And we had the match, and it was a good match, and Kane surprisingly defeated Balor after chokeslamming him 3 times. And so, the observation here is that if Balor had the match of the night at the pay-per-view yesterday, and Kane took out Strowman and Balor now, then they have big plans for him in the future, and there's bound to be a big payoff for it somewhere down the line. They can take all the time in the world for whatever this plan might be. I'm certainly on board for it, and I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. And likewise, I hope that they have big plans for Finn after all of this. And while we're here, before we move on, no, Booker, that wasn't a different Kane. Have you not been in the ring with that man yourself? Kane has always been an aggressive, violent sumbitch. So what the hell were you going on about? Jesus Christ! Just when you think he can't get any worse! And then after this, we have a little backstage segment in which Kurt Angle is backstage in his post office on the phone, as WWE managers always are, and we see him and Shane go back and forth verbally about which brand will be the victor at Survivor Series. If you've been watching WWE for at least the past couple of years, you know that the company doesn't have the greatest of history with promoting the cross-brand pay-per-views, with past ones feeling forced and taking place with little to no reason, and I'm hoping that this will be a different case. We'll see. I'll be cautiously observing it, but I don't know. I have my doubts. Asuka makes her Raw debut in a rematch against Emma, and we all know she's going over again. It was essentially the same match as well. It was good, they put on a good show, Asuka looks as good as ever, but Emma once again showed a bit more fight than I think she should have. Also, the commentators resorted to talking about Booker T's podcast during the fucking match. Have you ever listened to an episode of Dinner with the King? Jerry Lawler has repeatedly said that he doesn't like today's commentary. And oh, don't you worry, King, because we've had the same fucking sentiment about WWE commentary for years. And I've never listened to Booker's podcast, and I don't think I ever will, because if he's managed to stay shit at commentary for as long as he has, no kind of audio product that involves him can be any good either. And then our goddess and my WWE soulmate Alexa Bliss, who retained last night against Mickey, puts down the fans by calling them sheep and demanding that they chant for her. And how disrespectful that they didn't. When your goddess asks something of you, you do it immediately, and you don't kick and DDT her like Mickey James did. Elias wants to perform again, but Jason Jordan pisses on him once more by messing up his equipment somehow, and then they have a match. And last night's TLC outcome is only briefly mentioned. Booker T is the drizzling shits on commentary, and Elias destroys his guitar on Jordan's shoulder at ringside, disqualifying himself. That was a brutal shot for sure. Jordan had a damned noticeable wilt on him, but I'm not sure it really ended up doing much for either man. It felt like it was a shot for the sake of taking a shot, since there's little to nothing in the feud, and it's gonna keep going, of course, so I guess we'll have to see what comes next. I'm not terribly excited for it, and I don't blame you if you're not terribly excited for it either. Did you hear that little ah from Brock as he was heading down the ramp? Sounded like a fucking crow. That was funny as shit. But that funny shit aside, Paul Heyman delivers a hell of a promo, as he's known to do, and reveals that Brock will indeed take on Jinder at Survivor Series. But he didn't just say that Brock accepted the challenge, he buried Jinder, and rightfully so, by stating the obvious, that Jinder really is a consolation champion, and nowhere near the gigantic deal that Brock Lesnar is. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The WWE title has been meaningless around the waist of Jinder, and Brock, on paper, destroys Jinder on any show, any week. And then we have a triple threat women's match to determine the captain for Raw's team, and Alicia Fox wins over Bayley and Sasha, after Sasha has made her tap out 2 matches in a row. After no one's given a shit about Alicia since the day she arrived in the company, what, a decade ago? Ugh, how the mighty have fallen. To think that just over 2 years ago, Sasha and Bayley were main eventing and stealing the shows down in NXT. A 10-man tag match for the cruiserweights. It isn't enough that they keep getting thrown together like this regularly, and it isn't enough that we keep hearing the commentators repeatedly go on and on about the Survivor Series teams. Nope, we've got to have a 10-man tag match for these guys too. I don't want to say any more because otherwise I'll be trashing the division weekly. Should I just exclude them from 20 by 20 episodes from now on? I think I might just have to do that. I feel sorry for these guys, but shit, there's no way around it. The division has always been the drizzling shits. Remember what I said earlier about cross-brand events always being and feeling forced? So now, even within the confines of a kayfabe world, it's okay for a general manager to just order his employees to go and attack the other manager's employees, and what's more, the employees go along with it like it's no big deal. Even the faces? People like New Day and Becky Lynch, who don't do things like that regularly. People like Ziggler, Rusev, and Corbin, who always alienate themselves from everyone else and work alone? What? Well, okay then. I guess that's that. I guess we'll have to see what this turns into. And that was Raw this week. It had some of the hype left over from the TLC show, and that certainly helped it. And although the crowd was quite quiet in the women's and cruiserweights matches, it also ended in this bizarre and violent roster attack. What did you think of Raw this week? Let me know by leaving a comment here or over on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at Wrestling20x20. And don't forget to assault that subscribe button like you're wearing blue. And I hope to see you here for this week's SmackDown and NXT episodes. Until then, thanks for watching.